This is really now at the forefront of America's minds.
Sure. It should be. It should be.
Should be. And I wish that you could get in front of Congress and the people and explain it, because in just the short time that we've spoken, I think a lot more people might understand the urgency of it. But what if it didn't pass? Would we first start to see, as far as the erosion of the economy would be concerned, would we see factories start to close because the commercial paper would be drying up? How would people feel it?
Well, if it doesn't pass, Liz, the 1/20th of 1% that the U.S. Treasury is now paying for 7-day money would look like a high interest rate. I mean, you would have people. I don't like to be a fearmonger on this thing, but the financial markets would be in meltdown. I mean, and that is not a game we want to play. I have a friend that says, all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. But we don't want to go there with Congress not passing this bill, because they will have an economy on their hands immediately that will require them to be doing a whole lot more things that they don't like to do.
Do you think this is what Paulson and Bernanke were telling members of Congress on Thursday night that made them pause for a full 15 seconds before any one of them could utter a word? I
think what he was telling them, I mean, I know some things that were going on, late last week, and I know the consequences of what would have happened if they'd been continued to let them go on. And I think he probably told them a few stories that sobered them up.
But don't you think the American public should hear some of these stories if, in fact, they have such doubts about whether this should pass?
The trouble is, if you name names about people that could get in trouble very quickly, you're creating the very. I mean, you're yelling fire. And so I don't think the specific stories should get told, because you'll create your own reality that way. But I think that what you have seen so far would pale in comparison to what you'll see very quickly if Congress ignores this problem. I don't think they will, though. I believe in Congress will do the right thing. I mean, they want a good outcome for the U.S. economy. I think they're mad about a lot of things that have happened in the past, and I'm just as mad as they are. But that, you could be mad at what the generals did in fortifying Pearl Harbor in 1940, but that didn't change what you did on December 7th.
Let me go back to you and the money you've been spending. You've been on a spending spree effectively since last December, when December of 2007 you bought Marmon Holdings for $4.5 billion. I think there was in April a $6.5 billion investment for Wrigley. July, $3 billion investment in Dow Chemical. Just last week, $4.7 billion purchase of Constellation Energy Group. Today, Coldman. Are you poor now?
Getting close to it, Liz. You'll get a solicitation letter from me very soon. Send a few dollars here to almost. Boys Town used to be the big attraction here for contributions, but I'm the new substitute.
You with a little cup, alms for the poor. Seriously, are you going to spend more? Are you done? Or
I'm pretty close to done. We've obviously got some money around, but I like to always be very comfortable with money, and we've made some investments because I think they make sense, but it's not unlimited, we would be buying, if we had credit available to us, we might be buying some of the same sort of debt that the Treasury would be buying, but we don't have the funding for that. The only people the only institution in the world that really has the funding for that on the scale needed is the U.S. Treasury.
So in the end, effectively, this is not a free market solution. You feel we must pass this plan?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. I think that in the early 1930s, passing the FDIC was an enormously important thing. I mean, every now and then government has to act in a big way. And when Roosevelt said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, that wasn't the whole story, but it was close to the story. And we have plenty of fear among people now. And if Treasury bill yields go negative, that is the ultimate barometer of fear. I mean, that tells you that people are saying, I will pay interest in order to be sure I get back my money, not receive it on my money. But and we are 5 basis points away from the mattress being the best solution for money. That is not a good situation.
Well, we're scared. Thanks.
By the way, you have these wonderful letters to shareholders every year. And this one you said you only learn who's been swimming naked when the tide goes out. Are there more naked people that we're going to be seeing? Are there other shoes to drop here before the tide continues to go out?
Well, as I said, it turned into a nudist beach on Wall Street. Somebody said they've canceled the annual Christmas pageant this year on Wall Street because they couldn't find 3 wise men, let alone a virgin.
Whoa!
Warren, as always, thank you so much for coming on Fox Business.
Okay, enjoy it.
Thanks, Warren. Appreciate
Warren
it.
Buffett, Chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway.